A Love Beyond Time. Chapter 2. The Flicker of Hope. You better come back here, you worthless brat. Her voice tore through the silence, slicing through the air like a jagged blade. I pressed my hands hard against my ears, desperate to muffle the sound. But I couldn't stop the sharp pangs of fear creeping in with every word she spat. Not today. Not again. My stepmother's fury was an all too familiar storm, but I didn't have the strength to weather it this time. I scrambled into my closet, pulling the door closed until only a tiny sliver of light leaked through. My heart pounded in my chest, the rhythm uneven, and the closet air felt suffocating. Through the small crack, I could see her. Yeon-hee. Her thin frame looked so fragile, but I knew better. The cruelty she wielded was anything but frail. Her fingers gripped the thin wooden rod she always used, its slender frame meant to deliver pain, not leave a mark. I had grown to fear it more than the words she spewed. 16. They say it's the age where life blooms. For me, 16 is the age where hope dies. It had been 4 years since my mother's passing, and in that time I'd learned one truth. Love was not enough to keep people by your side. My mother had always told me I was beautiful. She had always said she was proud of me, that her love would be with me even when she was gone. But what good was her love now, when every day was a fresh nightmare? Tears blurred my vision as I clenched my fists. If you loved me, how could you leave me? How could you abandon me to this life? Suddenly the closet door swung open. There you are, Yeon-hee snarled, her face twisted in a sneer. You stupid, useless girl. Before I could move, she grabbed me by my arm and flung me onto the floor. My body hit the wooden planks with a dull thud, the familiar sense of dread creeping in. The blows came quickly after. Whack! 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 I bit down on my lip, refusing to cry out, but the pain cut through my body with sharp precision. It didn't matter if I screamed. No one would hear me. No one ever did. The world outside our apartment was as cold and indifferent as the one inside. Not again. Yeon-hee's voice was laced with disgust. Your pathetic heart condition. Do you have any idea how much you're costing us? If it weren't for your medical bills, your father and I wouldn't be drowning in debt. I gasped for air, my vision blurring as my chest tightened. My heart had always been my enemy, each episode stealing a little more time, a little more hope. The doctors had no answers, only medications that numbed the symptoms but couldn't heal the cause. They had warned me that one day my heart might stop altogether. Sometimes I thought that might be a relief. My father appeared at the door, his shoulders slumped in that familiar defeated posture. He always arrived too late, his weak attempts to intervene as hollow as the promises he made to protect me. I think that's enough, he murmured, his eyes flicking between Yeon-hee and me. We don't want her to have another attack. That's the problem, Yeon-hee snapped, her eyes narrowing at him. If she cared about us, she wouldn't keep pushing herself to get detention and stay late at school. She's trying to punish me. You know that, right? Your daughter is pure evil. I didn't get detention, I whispered, but my voice was too soft, too broken to make a difference. The teacher wanted to talk to me about... The stick came down again, silencing me. This time, I didn't even flinch. I just closed my eyes and let the darkness swallow me. My father looked at me, then at the floor. Soo Min, apologize to your mother, he said, his voice drained of life, like he had already surrendered long ago. Sorry, Mom, I choked out, though the words tasted like ash. Please forgive me. He handed me some money, like a pitiful offering to a broken shrine. Go buy food for dinner, make myeokguk. The storm had passed. Yeon-hee's fury simmered as she turned and followed my father out of the room. I sat there on the floor for a long time, staring at the bills in my hand. My heart still raced, but the fear was ebbing now, replaced by something darker, something quieter. A deep, hollow ache. I left the apartment and made my way to Mr. Kim's convenience store. Seoul's streets bustled with life around me, the bright lights, the constant hum of the city. but it all felt distant, like I was walking through a dream I couldn't wake up from. Mr. Kim saw me coming. He always knew. He never asked, but there was always a quiet kindness in his eyes, like he wanted to offer something more than just groceries. I placed the food on the counter, trying to keep my hands from shaking. "That'll be 10,001, he said softly. "That can't be right," I whispered, confused. "It should be more." Mr. Kim shook his head. "It's 27,000, but keep the change, Soo Min. You need it more than I do." The tears came then, hot and uncontrollable. I didn't want to cry in front of him, but the kindness, the gentle understanding in his voice, it broke something inside me. "Thank you," I managed to say, my voice barely a whisper. I left the store and found myself wandering toward the Han River. The sun had begun to set, casting a soft golden light over the water. I sat by the riverbank, my knees pulled up to my chest. For the first time in what felt like forever, I allowed myself to cry for real, not because of the pain, but for the hope I had lost. Somewhere out there, beneath the same sky, my mother's love still existed. I wasn't sure how to find it, but maybe, just maybe, I could escape this darkness. Maybe there was still a future waiting for me. And for the first time in a long while, I allowed myself to dream of it.